Let's take a look at problem 7-7. We're going to journalize and post business transactions using Excel. So we'll get some experience with Excel and practice applying the rules of debits and credits, and also getting some good practice analyzing business transactions. So, first of all, let's take a look at our general ledger. And we can also refer to this as a chart of accounts, and you will recall from our class discussions that the chart of accounts is a listing of all the accounts used by a business. Also recall that accounts are numbered, and so what we have here is that our asset accounts are listed within the 100 level. So we have a total of 5 asset accounts. Our liabilities are labeled with a 200. We have 1, which is this accounts payable. And then our owner's equity accounts are 300 level accounts. Revenue accounts, money coming into our business, are 400s. And then our expenses are 500 level accounts. So remember, assets increase with a debit. Liabilities and owner's equity increase with a credit, except for withdrawals, which increases with a debit because we're actually decreasing our capital when we withdraw anything out of our business. The boarding revenue, grooming revenue, they increase with a credit, and salaries expense increases with a debit. So make sure, don't ignore those Quizlets that we've been doing. You have to know those rules in order to effectively and efficiently record these transactions. Otherwise, everything will break down as we go and do our posting, and then further on do a trial balance. So it's important. You've got to know those rules. So don't be afraid to review those frequently. So the first step is that what we're going to do, we're going to go through and journalize all these transactions, and then we will post them. So first up, let's take a look at our first transaction. Abe invested $5,000 in the business, source document memo number 1. So we know that if you put $5,000 cash in the business, then cash is going to be affected. It's Abe's cash. He has claim to it. Therefore, it's represented in owner's equity under the capital account. So we're going to increase our cash by $5,000. So let's go ahead and get our date in here. So this is March, and it's the 1st. And so we take a look at our accounts up here, and it's account 101, cash in bank. And so for this one, I'm going to go ahead and put 101 in there just so that we get some additional practice in learning how accounts are numbered. Post reference, we save that until we start posting, and that is a debit of $5,000. Next, we need to do our credit, 301 capital. And that is a credit of $5,000. Source document, memo 51. So that transaction is now complete. Next, Abe Schultz transferred a desk and chairs valued at $1,200 to the business. So this is the same thing as investing. He took some personal assets and now he's essentially donating them or investing them into his business. So it's going to be very similar to this transaction, except he's not investing cash. He's investing desks and chairs, which would come under this asset. 130 office furniture is the best one to describe that. So that's on the 3rd. Account number 130. He's estimating that to be worth $1,200. The debit or the credit would go again to capital. And if you want, just come up here, click on it, Control C, shortcut to copy, come down here, Control V, save some typing, put in your $1,200, and what is the source document? Memo 52. Once again, Control C, Control V, double click, change the 1 to, or just, there you go, 52. That'll work. March 5th, issued a check for $3,000 for grooming supplies. Anytime you write a check, it's a use of cash. It's the only way you can pay bills. When you write a check, that's coming out of your cash account. So that's the 5th. And what are we paying for? Let's see here. Grooming supplies. Grooming supplies, it's an asset account, 120. Increase to an asset, is that a debit or a credit? The honker says debit. Grooming supplies is account number 120. Check was written, so we increased that asset by $300. And how did we pay for it? With cash. And so once again, we can come up here, Control C to copy, Control V, indent. Don't want to forget that, right? Because that one didn't indent automatically for us. So we want to make sure that our credits are indented. And there's a decrease of cash, $300. And the source document is some type of receipt. What do we have? Ah, the check. Check 551. And so that transaction is complete. Let's move on to the 7th. Bought grooming equipment on account for $1,800 from dogs and cats. So we're increasing our asset grooming equipment. How are we paying for it? No cash here, right? It says on account. So that means we went to this company, bought the equipment, they issued an invoice, but we're going to pay for it later. So that's a liability. And how are we going to increase a liability? Credit. So let's go ahead and increase our asset for grooming equipment, which is account number 140. $1,800. And we need to credit our accounts payable to dogs and cats for $1,800. Source document is invoice DC 201. 7th has been journalized. 9th, groomed a dog on account, $400. Okay, so dog came in, fixed the dog up. The people who own the dog need to pay us some money. That person is Juan Alvarez, and we should have a receivables account for this customer. And there it is right there, accounts receivable J. Alvarez. And so we know that we have to do something to that account, and then $400 sales. So sales is a form of revenue. So we need to go up to our revenue accounts. Boarding revenue, that means kind of like a dog hotel, keep dogs overnight. Grooming is actually cutting the hair and combing them and doing whatever else we're going to do. So this particular one here is grooming. So increase to revenue is a credit. When somebody owes us money, there it is right there at 105, it's an asset. So we need to debit. Accounts receivable J. Alvarez. That was for $400. And then put in our revenue account, which is, oh, forgot to put in that account number, which was 105. And then here we've got 401, 405, grooming. And so that's going to be 400 there. And our source document is, we bill them with invoice number 350. The 12th, paid dogs and cats $900 on account. Dogs and cats is where we bought that grooming equipment, $1,800. So it looks like we're making a payment to cover half of it. The only way we can pay our bills is with the use of what? Cash, yes. And what else? What did we pay for? Well, we paid this liability here. So we increased the liability where are we? Right there. We increased our liability with a credit, so to decrease a liability, we're going to do a debit. So our debit then is going to be to this company here. I'm just going to copy it. But make sure that I change the indents. And we made $900 payment, so we owe less. And then we used cash. I'm going to copy the credit cash. Maybe it will copy over the formatting too. That'll be fine. 900. And the only problem with this is I forgot to put the account number on there. I see that on the other one too. Accounts payable, there was a 20205. I'm going to go back and put that in there. Right there. 205 account number. And our source document is check 552. On the 15th, what happened? Issued check 553 for $500 to pay the office secretary's salary. All right, once again, there's a check, so we know we've got a use of cash and a decrease in cash. We know that we decrease cash or decrease assets with a credit. And then here we've got secretary's salary. Salary, that's an expense. We increase expenses with a debit. Yes. So that's account 525. Salaries expense. $500. Need a credit for cash. I'm going to copy that one. And it's 500. And then check number 553. 18th. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit on these. $18th. Withdraw. $1,000 cash. Withdrawals. Increase with debits. And we are withdrawing cash. So, account number 305. Withdrawals. $1,000. Credit to cash. Check number 554. 20th. A deposit. $1,400 received from clients for boarding their pets. So this is the doggy hotel situation here. So we received cash. So if we deposit $1,400, we are increasing our cash, which is an asset. How do we increase assets? Debit. Yes. It's revenue, boarding revenue. How do we increase revenue? Credit. So I'm going to copy this debit to cash right here. Put it here. Revenue. I'm going to go ahead and type this one out. This is 401 boarding revenue. And our source document is a bunch of receipts here. $477 through $480. These are receipts that we would have written when the customer came in and paid us. The receipt would show proof of receiving that payment. 24th. Wrote check 555 for $900 to Dogs and Cats Incorporated to apply on account. So once again, looks like we're paying the balance of this, where we had charged $1,800, and then we made a $900 payment. Now we're making another $900 payment. So why don't we do this? Let's just copy that. It's going to be another debit. Oops. There we go. And how did we pay it? We paid it with cash. Well, we could have copied just that whole transaction except for the source document. There we go. And we paid for that with check 555. And the last one. Received a check for $400 from Juan Alvarez on account. So this is receiving a check is cash. And we're receiving it from Juan Alvarez. And this was way back up here on an accounts receivable, where we did some grooming work for Juan Alvarez, and we billed him $400. Now he is paying the bill. So when we billed him, it was a debit to accounts receivable, but now that he is making the payment, where is he? Here, $400. Now that he's making a payment, we're going to credit his account. And we're going to increase our cash. And we know now that anytime we increase cash, increase an asset, that is a debit. Now if we want, we could come up here and copy that. We will have to make an adjustment, though, for the indent. There we go. Show that it's now a credit. And that's it. In the next video, we will take a look at posting all of these journal entries. I hear some of you saying, I forgot something. Yes, I look at that right there, receipt 481. Got to have that source document there, so let's put that in there. Receipt 481. Now we're finished, and I think we've got them all. We got the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, 12th, 15th, 18th, 20, 24, 26, and that looks pretty good. So next up, we will post all of these to our general ledger accounts.